Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. Today I thought I would run you through some of the books, or the books that are currently on my physical TBR that I plan on reading this autumn, kind of winter, but mainly autumn focused. I have my TBR cat here, which is full of all of the books that I want to read this autumn, because it is my mission to try and get through majority of these for the rest of the year. I am very much shopping my TBR until further notice. I've took off a lot of the sort of like summary books that I'm not really feeling for the rest of the year, and we are left with these. We do have 3 shelves. I've kind of split it off a little bit. We've got like romance up here, and on the other side fantasy, and then some thrillers and some literary fiction sort of things in there. So I'm going to pull them off here and we are going to talk through them. We will start with the romance pile. Let's do this side first. So let's dive on in. I have 3 books by Hannah Bonham Young. So I have got Next of Kin and Next to You. I don't know if these are sort of like part of a series or if they follow on, just because of like the titles, but I believe that they kind of both have the trope of like parenthood in interesting ways. Like I want to say maybe like adoption of a family member, things like that, or something. I don't really know. I read Out on a Limb and I loved it, so I really do want to get to some more of her books. And then recently I picked up People Watching as well. So this is her newest release, and the cover just screams autumn. Like I am dying to get to this one. I do think I'll probably read this first before those two, just because this one is one that's grabbing my attention the most. But I really need to read some more of her books, because Out on a Limb I loved and I really did not expect to, just because of some of the tropes. So I'm excited to read like more of her work. Then I have some very much autumnal themed books, so let's go through those ones. I have 2 of the books in, I really don't know what this series is called, but I have the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. So these are like part of the series. It's like the strawberry shortcake, whatever, the gingerbread something, I don't know, where they all take place in like a little town, and obviously we are following each of either like the small business owners or something, I don't really know. I have heard things about these that they like aren't the best books, but no offense, I'm not really expecting them to be. I'm kind of reading them more for the vibes. So these 2 here I feel like are very, very autumnal, and then there is the gingerbread something one, which I feel like maybe might be more Christmassy. But either way, I think these will be like cute. Whose dog is barking? Anyway, I feel like these will be like cute sort of cozy reads. I'm not expecting miracles from them. I'm not expecting 5 stars, but I feel like they will just be nice, easy, atmospheric kind of reads. Then this one obviously just screams autumn. This is You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I believe this is basically like When Harry Met Sally. Friends to lovers, autumnal themed, that kind of vibe. I know literally nothing about this other than the cover obviously is very much giving fall. And then one that I will probably save for October is Morbidly Yours. So I don't know what this is about, but I mean, we've got like a gravestone on the front. I still don't even know what it's about, but maybe something, I don't know, because even the back does not hint to either of them having, oh, she moves in next to a funeral home. Okay, well, there we go. I feel like I'll probably read this one in October, obviously. But again, I don't think it's going to be like groundbreaking, but I think it'll be a cute seasonal read. Another new release that I am so excited for. I think I'm actually going to read this next. So by the time this video goes up, I very well might have already read this. But that is Wildcard by Miss Elsie Silver. This is book number 4 in the Rose Hill series. It's Ex-Boyfriend's Dad, guys. Ex-Boyfriend's Dad. I don't think I've ever read an Ex-Boyfriend's Dad, but I'm kind of really looking forward to it, if I'm being honest. So this one follows Bash, who we have already seen, and then who is the girl? I can't think what she's called, but we saw her briefly in Wildside, I believe, and I'm just excited to get into it. I have seen rave reviews about this one. People saying it got them out of a slump, people saying that they've given it 5 stars. This series isn't my favourite. I do prefer Chestnut Springs, which, by the way, Chestnut Springs getting turned into a TV show. Cast me as any of the girls, please, I beg. But I'm excited. Hopefully this one will be like my favourite of the series, so I am definitely going to read this one soon. Then a book that I bought when it first came out but I've just never been drawn towards is If Only I Had Told Her. So this is a sequel, kind of prequel, I don't know, to If He Had Been With Me. This is basically from the guy's point of view, but obviously knowing what we know from that book, I don't know how I feel about this one. I think it's just going to be like sad and try to sort of like tug at your heartstrings a little bit. But I didn't love that book as much as I thought I would, so I don't think that's why I've never like been desperate to pick this one up. But if I fancy an emotional-ish sort of read, maybe I'll go for this one. Okay, on to the other side of romances. First up I have I don't know what series this is called, but it's got Butcher and Blackbird in it. Is it called like the Ruinous Love or something like that? I don't know. I have read Butcher and Blackbird, but I haven't read these two, so I want to read Leather and Lark and Scythe and Sparrow. These are like, I don't know really because I've only read the first one, but they basically are both serial killers killing other serial killers, kind of that kind of vibe. So I don't know what the other two are going to entail. I imagine that they will obviously be different tropes, but still sort of that darker romance genre. So I do feel like this time of year is perfect for those. I'm not generally a dark romance girl. Like, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy them sometimes and I feel like they are always easy to get through, but I don't gravitate towards them most of the time. Then I have a couple of sports romances. So I have First Down by Grace Riley. She's a photographer, he's a footballer, I believe, and I think it's fake dating, which I do feel like is pretty standard for a sports romance. But I just feel like, again, these are sort of like easy to read, you'll fly through it. Probably not the most memorable, but good for like a palette cleanser sort of read. Same with Spiral. I actually do think I might really enjoy this one though. It's a ballerina and a hockey player. Again, fake dating trope, but I don't know, I think this one's cute and hopefully I will enjoy it. I do plan on reading like a few of these in between some of like the fantasy and thrillers that I have like lined up over the next few months. So these can kind of work as my palette cleanser, as I said. Another book that has been on my TBR for so long, we have Under the Sycamore Tree. This one I believe is meant to be a little bit more emotional. It kind of gives me, oh my god, what was it called? Is it like 1,000 Boy Kisses or something? It's giving me similar vibes to that, I think. The FMC in this book is going through it. I think her sister has just died, her mum and dad have split up or something, and she is also ill from the same thing that her sister passed away from. And then she meets this guy that's like the sad boy or whatever. But I don't know, I feel like I'm setting myself up for heartbreak. I feel like I've just heard that this is meant to be quite sad, so wish me luck. Another one I have, The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. So I believe this one came out before Fourth Wing and this is like her first romance book. I also feel like this is supposed to be quite sad. So it's something to do with her grandma and she finds some like letters or something, I don't know, and it's sort of about that, maybe, I'm not sure. But I feel like people have said this is quite emotional and I do tend to love an emotional sort of read this time of year. Like, I love a good cry anyway, but I feel like this time of year they just hit different. One that I feel like is maybe a fan favourite, I have Consider Me by Becca Mack. I feel like this is just spicy. Like, I don't know what it is, but this to me, I feel like I have connotations of it just being spice. Hockey romance, I believe, probably going to be smutty, so again, maybe a good palette cleanser. Look, she's chunky. It's like nearly 500 pages, which I feel like for a romance is a little bit ridiculous. I do also think this is part of a series, so hopefully if I like this one, I can continue on with the rest of the series as well. Then a very, very autumnal themed one, we have a Cinnamon Falls mystery. I have recently just got this sent as an ARC. I don't know why I put this in the romance category actually, but I think it does have romance elements in. It's basically a cozy sort of mystery, catching killers, catching feelings, what could go wrong. It's just giving Gilmore Girls but add a little bit of mystery to it, like almost like Thursday Murder Club kind of vibes, like cozy sort of murder mystery. How many times can I say that? But yeah, this was sent to me as an ARC, so I do want to get to this one soon. And then last up in this sort of category, I think I have Think Again by Jacqueline Wilson. So this follows on from, is it the Girls in Love series? Is it? Have I made that up? I don't know, but I used to love Jacqueline Wilson books when I was younger. Were they actually a little bit traumatic? Yes, but did I eat them up anyway? Yes. And I feel like this one came out maybe like last year or this year, and I really just wanted to read it. It's almost like a nostalgic blast from the past kind of vibe. We have this and I am very excited to read it. Very excited to sort of like get back into something that I loved when I was younger. That sums up the romance pile, I believe. Then this shelf here is like my general literary fiction shelf. I do actually have quite a few on this shelf. So first up we have a classic, we have Little Women. I have read this before, love Little Women. It is my nana's favourite book and I do love the film as well. So I would like to read this again. I think this cover is just stunning. But yeah, I would like to, I think it was one of my goals to read some more classics this year and I've not read a single one. So this one might be a good one for me to get into because I've read it before, or I've read like half of it, and because I already kind of know the plot because I love the movie. I feel like this one might be more of a sensible choice of a thriller. I meant to say classic. Definitely not a thriller. And then another sort of classic that I've got, or one that is a very obscure choice for me, is A Kestrel for a Knave. Don't ask, I don't know. Basically, at my old job, a few people knew that I love to read, and one guy always used to say that I need to read this, and as a leaving gift, he got it for me. So I think it's like about a mining town and something about this little teenager growing up in that sort of like environment. It's very northern, very Yorkshire, which me, so I will probably like that aspect of it, but I can't say that it's that high up on my TBR. Then I have Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. This one I was actually so excited to get into and I just never have, so I really do not know what this is about, but I feel like Sally Rooney fashion, it'll be like a romance-esque literary fiction, probably a very realistic portrayal of relationships or of people that will probably make me cry or infuriate me. I don't know. But aside from that, I know nothing about this book, but I do feel like it got a fair bit of praise, so I'm excited to get to it eventually. And then one that I have been putting off for literally like a year, maybe if not longer, I have The Winners by Frederick Backman. This is the third and final book in the Beartown trilogy. Beartown, if you don't know, is one of my all-time favourite books. Love it so, so much. And this one is like the final book in that little series. I had to kind of describe what this book or this series is even about, but we are basically following a very small town. It's a very complex town, very small knit. Their huge thing is this hockey team. Like their pride and joy is the hockey team. But basically something happens with the star player of the hockey team that divides the town in half. People think he's guilty, people defend him, and yeah, that's how it all kind of starts. But you just go through following like so many different individuals in the town, how things have impacted them, their life, their backstory, getting to know them as characters, and I just love it. I love it so, so much. I have read the second book, which is Us Against You, and then this is a third and final one, but I am scared for what this will entail with a certain character that I love so much. So I have been putting this one off. And also she's chunky, but I do want to get to it this year. It is my mission to finish this before 2025 is over. Then I have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This one is a book that just intimidates me for some reason, but I really don't know why, because I think I will love it. I think this is like literary fiction with fantasy, or maybe it just is fantasy, I have no idea. But I believe that everybody forgets her. Like her whole thing is that she is forgotten about. She meets someone, they forget her, like whatever, until one day I think somebody doesn't. I don't know, I think it's going to be very sad, but I think it's going to be very, very beautifully written, and I do really want to get to this one. I feel like I've put it off for so long. Then I have two books by Mitch Albom. So I have Tuesdays with Morrie and The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. These are kind of like based-ish on real life, but kind of read as general fiction, I think. So this one is about, every week I believe he meets with like his old professor or something, and this one is very much like about life lessons. And I feel like this one might have similar sort of themes. I think they're sort of about like human interaction, the joy of that, the beauty in that, and how different people can impact like your life and things. I feel like they'll just be cute. Again, maybe like palette cleanser reads, like I could read a few chapters of these a night or something. Then I have The Great Alone by Kristin Hannah. Kristin Hannah for me is an author that I've read a few books from now, but I just have not loved any of them. I have read The Nightingale and Firefly Lane, and I did enjoy them, but they weren't my favourites by any means. But this one, I'm not sure what this is about. It says they're a man that has returned from Vietnam, and then we are following a 13-year-old in Alaska. So I have no idea like what this is going to be about, but I feel like people really do hype up her books, so I kind of have like I don't know if I necessarily have a rule, but like this will be my third book of hers, so we'll see how I find it and kind of evaluate from there if she is an author for me or not. Another Frederick Backman read, I have Anxious People. This is another one that has been on my TBR for so long, and I don't know why I keep putting it off. I feel like we are following a few different characters, and basically they are going for like an open viewing of an apartment, and I believe it is like held like it's part of a robbery or something. We are following all these different characters throughout this robbery, and I just feel like that's a very interesting premise, especially for an author like him to write, because I feel like he's so good at getting you to connect with a lot of different characters. So I feel like this one will be very good when I eventually get around to it. Then I have The Unmaking of June Farrow. This one for some reason gives me very similar vibes to The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I don't know if I am completely mistaken in that. Again, I have no idea what this is about, but I've just heard people say that this is so good. I feel like it is sad. Gun to my head, I have no idea what this book is about, like not a single clue, but hopefully I enjoy it because it has been on my TBR for a pretty long time. Then I have On Earth We Are Briefly Gorgeous. This is another one that I feel like is going to be sad. Like, I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be beautifully written, but kind of break my heart. It's basically about, I believe, a letter from a son to a mother who can't read. And it's sort of about being like a first generation immigrant, I believe, or like speaking of a sort of struggle of leaving your home country, moving somewhere else for a better life, to provide a better life for your family, I think, from what I can gather from the back and what people have said. So I just feel like even that as a premise, like the letter from a son to a mother about that, is going to be quite emotional. And then one that I actually have not heard much about at all, but I just felt very much drawn to, is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. The back of this one literally says, deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, I feel like I need to read it. I don't know if it's like thriller, like it does not give me thriller vibes at all, but obviously it's fiction about these women that are in a cage, so I don't really know where it's gonna go, what it is going to be about, but I just felt very drawn to it, and obviously it is pretty short. I picked this up when I was in Boston, so I am excited to get to this one. I've seen a few reviews where people have rated it pretty highly, but I kind of made a point to not read them, so I don't know, no idea what it's about. Okay, and then on this side we have some fantasy books and also some thrillers. I'll do the thrillers first because I do not have many of them. I'm not really a huge thriller girly, but I have recently really been on the lookout for a thriller that is going to scare me, actually going to shock me and leave me like with a pit in my stomach. Perhaps an odd request, I know, but I'm sick of reading mediocre thrillers that I know what's coming and that I feel like I enjoy them, but I'm not like gripped and on the edge of my seat and shocked. So that is what I'm on the lookout for. So I have The Maidens by Alex Michaelides. I have obviously, along with probably everybody else that reads ever, read The Silent Patient, and I did enjoy that. I read that right when I was first getting back into reading, like as an adult. So I did enjoy that one, and I feel like unfortunately this one does not have as good praise as that one. So whether I will like this or not, I don't know. But this takes place at Cambridge University, and one of like this group is found murdered, and I believe that they then kind of try to solve it, or they go on like this sort of thing about like the university and maybe like dark academia kind of vibes to try and figure out who has murdered them. I definitely want to read more thrillers this year because I feel like last year I read barely any, and they obviously are just very easy to read a lot of the time, gripping sort of read, especially for the autumn winter months. And then one that I was kindly lent by a girl that I work with. This is Strange Sally Diamond. She said that she really enjoyed this one. It's like one of her favourite books. I'm not going to read anything on the back of this one so that I sort of like give it the best chance at scaring me, shocking me, whatever. But all in all is that this one came highly recommended. My cousin actually said that she read this one as well and she really liked it, so hopefully I will feel the same. Then I have The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I've read a few Riley Sager books, I believe, and haven't loved them. But this one I've had on my TBR for a while, but a lot of people did comment it on like my TikTok and my reel asking for thriller recommendations. So I hopefully will like this one. It's given like kind of that typical horror movie where like there's this couple that live across and they have this pitch perfect life, but not everything seems as it seems. Not everything looks as it seems, or is as it seems. What am I even talking about? Anyway, I think I'm going to do like a video where I only read thrillers or whatever for a week. So you will probably see me reading a few of these in that. Just because I am very much in a thriller mood at the minute. I think because it's getting like darker and colder. Before the nights start getting like too dark, I want to get into a thriller mood. And then the last one I have, I don't know if it counts as a thriller, but it is The Body by Stephen King. This is based, well, Stand By Me, the movie, is based off this book, which is one of my favourite books. One of my favourite movies. So I thought, hopefully I will like the book as well. But I do feel like because it's Stephen King, maybe the book is going to be a little bit more gruesome or like thriller-esque, because the movie is not like that at all. But I have no idea. I want to get into Stephen King like as an author. So I feel like this one will be a good way for me to start because I've seen the film and because I love the film. And then hopefully if I like this and his writing style, because it is so short, I can go on to some of his other ones that are hopefully a little bit more like horror-esque, because that is also a genre that I really want to like tap into. That was a quick little debrief of the thriller section. So moving on to the fantasy section, I do have quite a lot of fantasy books, just because autumn very much gives me fantasy vibes. I feel like summer is for the romances, especially obviously the summer romances, like it's a no-brainer. But autumn gives me fantasy vibes, like just getting cozy, reading about dragons and shit, like I will eat it up. First up I have the Prison Healer trilogy series. I know nothing about this at all. Again, I feel like fantasy books is one of those things where like you kind of want to go into them blind, because I feel like it's fun to learn about like the magic system, learning the world, learning the plot, things like that. Whereas like for me, a romance, spoilers don't necessarily matter because most of the time you know they're going to end up together anyway. Whereas like fantasy, thrillers, things like that, obviously the plot points are a little bit more dramatic and can make more of a change to the story, if that makes sense. So a lot of these I'm going to have no clue what they are about, but that's the way that I like it, so I do apologise if that's annoying. But yeah, we have the Prison Healer trilogy. I believe this is YA, so hopefully it'll be like very easy to read, not too much brain power going into it. And then another full series that I have is the Caraval series. So this is by the same author as the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, which I have read. But I believe this one technically comes first, and they do say to read this because they interlink a little bit. We meet Jax in these books, I believe, but I think these ones sort of follow siblings maybe, and about this like infamous carnival that is like magic or something. I don't know, I have no idea. Once Upon a Broken Heart wasn't my favourite fantasy series of all time. It was like easy enough to read, but I don't think about it very often. I think that these are like YA as well, but again, very easy to read, sort of easy to pick up, easy to get into, easy to follow, which is never really a bad thing in my opinion. Then I have To Kill a Kingdom. This one has been on my TBR for so long and I have been tempted to pick it up so many times, but I just never have. We are following a princess that is Siren royalty. Then she's cursed into humanity by the Sea Queen, and she needs to deliver the heart of the infamous siren killer or she will remain a human forever. And I feel like that sort of like trope, that sort of mini subgenre, I really enjoy. Again, it's YA fantasy, which I feel like is always easy to read. I do feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, but like I feel like I'm just going to enjoy it and it's just going to be easy to read once I actually eventually pick it up. Then I have The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I know absolutely nothing about this. I do think it's part of a series. Don't know what the rest of them are, but I believe this is about vampires. And I generally don't tend to read a lot about vampires. I feel like a lot of the books that I read are more like fae-based. rather than vampires, so I'm interested to read a little bit more about them, or to read a series centering around that. Then I have The Ember in the Ashes, which I've heard such good things about. I feel like this is one of those that's sort of about a split kingdom. You have like the king or the ruler of the kingdom, and then you have people that are sort of like rising against certain things. Very like political, or it seems that way anyway. Oh, this is also a series. I feel like fantasy books always are, so that's why like I kind of put off getting into them, because I'm like, I am undertaking a huge series. It's getting into all of the world building and all things like that, but it is always worth it. But anyway, yeah, I've heard very good things about this one, so I am excited to get into it, and I do feel like, again, autumn is just a perfect time for that. And then one that I absolutely need to read soon is Wicked. So obviously we all know that the Wicked Part 1 came out last year. Love, love, love Wicked. Love the theatre production, I love the movie, and I do want to read the book before Part 2 comes out. I know that the movie definitely fluffifies the book, from what I've heard, so I'm still excited to get into it and read this. Obviously I know what happens in the theatre production, but I'm interested to see how that sort of strays from the book. And then another huge series that I have is the Crescent City series. I desperately need to read this. I feel very left out. ACOTAR and Throne of Glass are some of my favourite books. Throne of Glass in specific, I do just love so much. And I feel like if I even love Crescent City like half as much, then I'll be happy. But they are just so humongous, and I feel like they are definitely the most complex of the Massiverse books. And it's just a huge undertaking. Like, look at the size of them. And I do feel like people were disappointed with the most recent one, which kind of maybe shouldn't, but it does put me off, because I'm like, I'm gonna read all of these just to not even be happy with the ending. Like, I don't know, but definitely is one of my goals to at least start this series this year, and I'm determined to do it, so please hype me up and tell me that it'll be worth it. Speaking of series that I need hyping up to read, I have Iron Flame. I read Fourth Wing pretty late to the Fourth Wing party, to be honest. I think I read Fourth Wing when Iron Flame came out, and I enjoyed it but didn't love it. So then, because I didn't love that one, I wasn't drawn to pick up Iron Flame, especially because people that did love Fourth Wing didn't love this, if that makes sense, if you're following. So I wasn't racing to go and read this one, and also she's huge and people have said it's a filler book, and do I want to read this much of a filler book? No, I do not. However, I would like to read it. I would like to finish it, so obviously would like to read this one, and I would like to read Onyx Storm, but I do not have that. Similar sort of vibes actually, and this annoys me to no end. I have Divine Rivals, which I cannot believe I've not read, and then I also have Ruthless Vows, but similar sort of thing. I was late to the hype on this one, picked this one up, thought I would really love this one, but then people said they were disappointed by this, and then now I'm like, do I want to read a series or like a duology, whatever, where people were disappointed with the second book? Because then is it going to ruin it a little bit for me? But I think I just need to bite the bullet and do it. And then the last book that I have on my TBR for the autumn winter is Never by Miss Jessa Hastings. Jessa Hastings is one of my favourite authors. The Magnolia Park series is one of my favourite series. This is a Peter Pan retelling. But again, I feel like I missed the hype when it first came out because people were very torn on it. And then I didn't want my opinion to sort of like be influenced by reading reviews. So I held off on it, and clearly held off too long because it's been out like 2 years and I still haven't read it. But Never 2 has been announced, so I do need to read this before that one comes out. I don't think this is going to be my favourite of hers, if I'm being so completely honest with myself. However, I would like to still read it. Whew, okay, that sums up my autumn TBR. A lot of books on here, a lot of books, but that just means I can make it into a thing, shopping my TBR, reading some cozy autumnal reads. I'm very much excited for it. I do love reading in the autumn. I feel like we have a good selection to make it top tier, 10 out of 10. Let me know which books of these you have read and which ones you would recommend me reading, which ones you think I might love. As always, make sure you are following my Instagram, readwith.georgia. I am more active over there. It's more fun. Go look over there too. But thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.